This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Anthony for three. Bang!
How's it going, everybody? You are listening to the Ruckus and the Menace Sports Podcast, episode number 82. I'm Ruckus and The Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always not causing a ruckus.
And on this episode, we recap some quick takes and major highlights in the starting lineup. We get into our good, bad, and ugly this week with our Eastwood segment. We recap the week 17 of the NFL season and get a little bit more into the playoff picture breakdown as we head into the high heat, the second to last one of the regular season. Our color commentary takes a play on the new year as we go into 2024. Our film room is an expanded piece of picks that are very, very high scoring. As the margin now between Ruckus and I has become less than 10 points once again. We rounded out with naming our stud and dud of the week. And we're still within that cutoff because we have not officially said it. Happy New Year to you all. And especially Happy New Year to Ruckus. May 2024 be much more of a benefit to my sports teams because they're not playing well.
Bah humbug.
Hey, you've had some glory there with the Chiefs.
I'm just not in the
At least that's more than what I could really say.
Dude,
it's more than what I could really say over the past 2 years.
Happy New Year, to be honest with you. I passed out on New Year's Eve. I was like, all right, I celebrated, and then my body's like, bro, go to bed, and I'm like, okay, and then I just went to bed. For some reason, I don't know what it is. If it's just like if I'm on like if I'm like playing a game with the homies and it's like we're like playing round based games like the finals or something, I'm like, all right, let's play one more. It turns into like 3 a.m. and you're like, oh crap, here we go. But like whenever I'm just chilling alone by myself.
I was doing that stuff. I was running these with Nice Guy at your age, and playing 2K, playing a whole bunch of 2K at that particular point in time. Yeah. Now for me, it's just hopping on spell table, playing Commander games, which take an hour and a half apiece.
Yeah.
But other than that, let's just get right into it here in doing the starting lineup. As some major moves have happened in baseball over the last week or so. And we're going to start with a couple of them that are outside of my team. And that is that Frankie Montas is now a member of the Cincinnati Reds rotation. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is going to the Blue Jays, along with Kevin Kiermaier choosing to stay put in Toronto. And we also have the retirement of. I don't even know what you did. I didn't even hear it.
Oh, I was making a dumb Canadian joke. I was saying sorry about that.
That kind of just was a very ill-placed one, eh? But Andrelton Simmons retired. But the two major things for my team is that, for my team, the Boston Red Sox, is, well, Andrelton Simmons was a great fielder. More so known for his glove rather than his bat, which you kind of really want that at times with your shortstop.
Yeah, same with Alcides Escobar
But
with the Royals too. But yeah,
but I digress. Now to where I was going to go with my own team is that we
with the
say goodbye
Boston
to
Red
one
Sox.
pitcher and hello to another pitcher. Our goodbye is to Chris Sale,
as he sails away.
who did his that is the wrong spelling of the word sail in this case.
But it sounds the same, okay?
I understand your wordplay and trying to use a homophone for the same problem, or for the possible solution that you had, but no sale. I'm not buying it. As Boston has, as the Red Sox have traded away Chris Sale to the Atlanta Braves.
But what did they sell on?
This is the third team. Oh, what did they end up getting?
Yeah.
Another former White Sox pitcher, Lucas Giolito. We have General Gio coming to Boston.
2 years, $38.5 million.
Yeah, do I think it's a little bit of an overpay for Breslow to make that decision?
Yes.
Yeah, because, and the reason why it's a little bit of an overpay is because Gio over the last couple of years hasn't been pitching at his best.
Mediocre.
If this was about maybe,
if this was like 2019
I know where
Lucas
you were going with
Giolito, then yes.
Yeah, if it was about 3 years, if it was about maybe 3 years ago in the same situation, I could see why we would have made this deal.
He's in a sense
not
a
worth
future
that
Mark
much now.
Burley, because Mark Burley was like good for like one season with the White Sox, and then the Marlins were like, "Oh, let's give him a big contract," and then he just completely folded.
I think Burley had more than one good season.
Well, I'm counting the year that he got the no hitter, and then after he got the no hitter, he just kind of was like, okay. That's all I'm saying. I mean, there's probably more stats to that.
I almost want to baseball reference this, and the reason why I'm saying I almost want to baseball reference this is that clearly I think he had. I mean, he won 214 games. He had a really great year in 2002, really from 2001 to 2005. Other than 2003, Burley was doing really well. He had he had 16 wins in 2001, 19 wins in 2002, 16 wins in 04 and 05. He went 16-8 in 05. Then he had a 15-win season in 2008. He was only 13-9 in 2011 before the Marlins took that big deal.
Maybe I'm thinking of the saying of he was good until he went to the Marlins. Maybe, I don't know. I just remember he kind of like fell off after the no hitter.
He had a solid. I mean, he for the better part of it had a solid record. He really did. Pretty much throughout most of his career, with the only exception being 2006, where he was an All-Star. He finished with a 12-13 record then, but otherwise he had a 214 and 160 record. He actually even finished his career in Toronto in 2015 with a 15-8 season.
Oh crap! I forgot he was part of the Blue Jays at one point.
Yeah. So really, a 5-time All-Star, a World Series champion, and a 4-time Gold Glove. Granted that his ERA career-wise is at a 3.8. Burley wasn't completely. He wasn't terrible. I think Burley at this point is probably better than Giolito. But that's a digression for another time.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks and Toronto Raptors have made a trade. The two major pieces of that deal being OG Anunoby and RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett finally going back to his home country of Canada. And I actually saw RJ Barrett play while he was a high schooler, because there was one random instance, I think back in 2018, where Montverde Academy came up to Hagerstown. And I went and saw RJ Barrett play
That's cool.
in that game. The very next year, and I didn't get to see him, but I know someone who did. The very next year, Bol was up there, as in the NBA player and son of former NBA guy Manute Bol was up in that same tournament in Hagerstown the very next year.
Okay, if you've ever heard of Elf on the Shelf, or it's kind of like that meme of have you ever heard of Elf on the Shelf? It's like, have you ever heard of Bol Bol? Will get ready for Taco Fall, because they're both tall guys. I don't even know I feel like he would be taller than Taco Fall though.
No, but if you've ever heard of Elf on a Shelf, I mean, you basically in a picture would put Bol on a bowl, like a bowl of cereal.
I was thinking for some reason you were gonna go with he was riding a bull, like he was in like a bull riding contest, and he would just literally be towering over the bull.
No, I was thinking, because it actually the pronunciation is bowl, as in like
BOL,
like a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah, BOL, but we will leave that for another time, and let's get to our closing announcements of the starting lineup, and that being the Pro Bowl games are set in, and we now have the representatives. We now have the representatives, and we now have the games themselves.
Alright, we should probably read these off. You want me to go first?
Yep.
Alright, so I have the AFC, Spennis has the NFC. Alright, so I will quickly read these off for one by one. Alright, at quarterback we got 3. We have Tua turn the ball over. Somehow I think they misplaced Lamar Jackson in this one. Just kidding. They put him as a quarterback. And then Patrick Mahomes. And then we have 3 running backs. We have Raheem Mostert of the Dolphins, James Cook of the Bills, Derrick Henry of the Titans. For fullback, we have Alec Ingold of the Miami Dolphins. We had 4 wide receivers this year: Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, and Jamar Chase. And then we have 2 tight ends this year. We have Kelsey and David Njoku. 3 tackles: Laramie Tunzel, Dion Dawkins, and Taron Armstead. We have 3 guards this year: Quentin Nelson, Joel Bentonio, and then Joe Tooney. Then for his first ever appearance on the Pro Bowl games, we have 2 centers. One being Creed Humphrey, aka Creed is Good, and Tyler Linderbaum. And Tyler Linderbaum is a rookie. Go ahead.
In the AKA on Madden form, Big Country, though, for Creed Humphrey.
Oh, I say Creed is Good because that's like his tagline.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then on defense, we have 3 defensive Ds: Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, and Trey Hendrickson. Interior linemen include Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, and Justin Matabuki. And then you have 3 outside linebackers: TJ Watt, Khalil Mack, and Josh Allen. And then your middle linebacker, inside linebackers are Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. 4 cornerbacks include Patrick Surtain II, Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey, and Denzel Ward. And then your free safeties are Justin Simmons, Mika Fitzpatrick. And then your strong safety is Kyle Hamilton. So a lot of Ravens for the defense. And then for your special teams, your long snapper is Ross Matishik, I guess. Punter, AJ Cole.
Yeah, from
Place
the Jaguars.
Place kicker Justin Tucker, kick returner Marvin Mims Jr., special teamer Miles Killebrew. So that's your AFC. Go ahead with the NFC.
And for the NFC, the 3 quarterbacks are from the 49ers, Brock Purdy. From the Dallas Cowboys, here we go, Dak Prescott. And from the Rams, Matthew Stafford. Running backs are DeAndre Swift, Christian McCaffrey, and Kyron Williams. The fullback is Juice, Kyle Juszczyk. The wide receivers for the NFC, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, and rookie Puka Nacua. I believe Kyron Williams is also a rookie as well.
Well, he got hurt.
Correct me.
But he came
No,
back
I said he was a rookie.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you were saying
I knew
he was. Wait, is he on the Pro Bowl roster?
Yeah, Kyron Williams? Kyron Williams is a running back. I just mentioned it.
Oh, dang. Sorry, go ahead.
And the tight ends, both of them from Tight End University, George Kittle and rookie Sam Laporta. And of course, George Kittle. I love George Kittle as a person. The offensive tackles are Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, and Penei Sewell. The offensive guards are Zach Martin, Chris Lindstrom, and Landon Dickerson. The centers are Frank Ragnow and starting Jason Kelsey, also known as one of the people's sexiest man alive. The defensive tackles are Javon Hargrave, Dexter Lawrence, and Aaron Donald. The defensive ends are Aiden Hutchinson, Montez Sweat, and Nick Bosa. The inside linebackers are Fred Warner and Bobby Wagner. The outside linebackers are Micah Parsons, Daniil Hunter, and Hassan Reddick. The corners are Deron Bland, Charvarius Ward, and Jalen Johnson, along with Devin Witherspoon, another rookie. The free safety is Jesse Bates. The strong safeties are Budda Baker and Julian Love. The punter is Brian Anger. The kicker, rookie, Brandon Aubrey. The long snapper, Andrew DePaula. The return specialist, Rashid Shaheed. Say that one about 3 or 4 times fast.
Rashid Shaheed.
And the special teams player... And the special teams player is Jalen Reeves-Maben. The Pro Bowl games themselves. On Thursday, February 1st, the quarterbacks will be competing in precision passing. The wide receivers, or one player from each conference, will be doing pre-taped landmarks around Orlando will be doing a best catch contest. 6 players from each conference will compete in a golf accuracy competition in a closest to the pin competition. Something tells me I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Mahomes is one of the players chosen. High stakes. With a football in each hand, each player will catch punts from a jugs machine. Each player that catches the football without dropping others will advance. The player who catches the most footballs wins. And then the standard dodgeball fare. And then the kickers will be playing in a game of tic-tac-toe. Basically playing tic-tac-toe with field goal kicking. On Sunday, there will be a Madden NFL head-to-head with 2 players from each conference using the 2024 Pro Bowl Games rosters, and face off in Madden NFL 24. The Gridiron Gauntlet, which is a full field relay featuring 6-player teams from each conference and an obstacle course. The Tug of War, the newest edition, is 5-player teams facing off in a best-of-3 competition, and then Move the Chains. 5-player teams of O linemen and D linemen have to work together to move 3,000 pounds of pound wall across the finish line. So these linemen get to really show their strength. And I think some of these new ones they've added are pretty good. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I really enjoy like the dodgeball games that they do each year, and then also
Oh, I
the
mean,
precision passing.
because it lets the players show their personality too.
Mm-hmm. And
Precision passing
then
is always entertaining. The best catch contest. Amon-Ra St. Brown. That dude knows how to catch a football, but I don't think Amon-Ra is actually playing because I don't think Amon-Ra's in the Pro Bowl.
I think, um, to be honest with you, I feel like the precision, like the my favorites are the precision passing because of the targets and stuff, and then the dodgeball. But also, like, I feel like that standing catch thing is kind of like you're just watching grown men like jump into like a safety mat or whatever while catching a ball doing like these crazy things. I don't know. It just doesn't really appeal to me on that
Well,
one.
yeah, yeah. But
Um,
then high stakes, that sounds like a fun one. That sounds like a fun one for the return specialists or anyone
isn't
else
that the one where
trying.
they have to like catch
I would
like the punts or whatever, or
the
like
punts off the jugs machine and hold on to as many footballs as they can.
yeah, I liked that one last year. And then do they
Tug of war is going to be fun, especially if you put offensive linemen on there.
I
You get to
feel like
really
that's gonna be a one and
see the
done
muscle of
deal.
the offensive lineman get flexed.
I hope they bring back what they did back in the day with the quarterbacks, where it's like they like do that like whole like
I would love to. I
crash
would
course
love
like
to
they
see
did
the
back in the
quarterback
day.
challenge come back.
Yeah.
Oh, the quarterback challenge as a whole, like basically that was on the accuracy, long distance throw, and read and recognition.
Yeah. As much as I hate to say this, though, if the Chiefs do get knocked out of the playoffs, I would like to see Patrick Mahomes do the precision passing. I think that'd be cool to see that.
Oh, I think Patrick Mahomes will do precision passing because I think the Chiefs are in trouble, but that's just me.
Yeah. All right, we
But
ready
now we go
for the?
into our Eastwood segment here: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right. And what was good this week, Spennis?
Well, we now can celebrate that the Pistons won a game. They snapped their 28-game losing streak to the Raptors, giving a conclusion to 2023 with a win. However, that didn't last long. 2 nights later, they lose again to the Rockets.
Oh,
Aw.
What was not so good this week, Ruckus?
Well, the
Minus that I killed the good by.
well, I mean, it's kind of funny how it's like that, yay, and then it's like, aw, at the end of the good. But it tells right into the bad, which is the XFL and USFL merge, but in the weirdest and most bizarre fashion. You see, the XFL has 8 teams. The USFL has 8 teams. You would think if they were merging, you would think, wouldn't that make it 16? Nope, we're just gonna take the other 8 teams out and tell them sorry, but no. Just no.
Let alone you also took out some very, very significant markets. I
Yep.
think I can't remember what the USFL had, but the XFL had the Seattle market. The XFL had a couple of different markets that were there, but now you've got you've got 3 teams in Texas. 3 teams in
And
Texas,
I'll tell you what,
1 in
the U
Alabama, 1 in Michigan, 1 in Tennessee, and then you have St. Louis and DC.
I'll
And
tell you
technically the
what,
Houston Roughnecks were an XFL team.
I tell you what, I feel like the USFL couldn't smell what The Rock was cooking until they're like, all right, we'll just fold and merge. I just think it's odd that they wouldn't have 16 teams because you would think if they're gonna merge, they're gonna have more opportunity for players. But maybe they're thinking about that later on down the future because I feel like this was more of a oh crap, this league ran out of money, so one league is gonna have to soak up that league to buy them out and make it look like this actually happened. And I don't think they did a good job with it. But
I wasn't thinking 16 teams when the merge occurred. I was thinking maybe 12. I thought they'd merge with 12 and do it as a 6 and 6. But the 8 teams are the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Roughnecks, the Memphis Showboats, and the Michigan Panthers make up the USFL division. And then the XFL division consists of the Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders, the San Antonio Brahmas, and the St. Louis Battlehawks. Your coaches for those teams. For the Stallions, you have Skip Holtz. For the Roughnecks, you have Curtis Johnson. For the Showboats, you have John DiFilippo. For the Panthers, you have Mike Nolan, the former 49ers coach. For the Renegades, you have Bob Stoops, the former Sooners coach. Reggie will now go from coaching the Roughnecks to the Brahmas. And then Anthony Becht, the former Mountaineer and Indianapolis Colt, is the head coach once again for the St. Louis Battlehawks. I think this is going to be interesting. I don't even know if those teams have officially drafted. So I'm sure that this is probably going to start with a whole new draft. And they just want to, and the Rock says we just want to grow the game of football. So I'm very curious as to how this turns out. And if it turns out in such a way that we're watching it, they've done their job. If we're watching this type of football in the spring, they've done their job. Simple as that.
I hope it.
But now we get into the really, really ugly. Unless you had something else to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hope what The Rock is cooking is some delicious Hawaiian barbecue. But anyways, let's go on into the downright ugly in Broncos country.
Huh. The summary of this: the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson not riding off this season into the sunset, $37 million.
Broncos
And
country, let's ride.
Unfortunately, Russell, you had to go the dangerous way and fall off the horse. But not by your own will. Because now the ugly part about this is that this marriage between quarterback and coach and team and organization has soured to the point that the Broncos chose to sit Russell Wilson over a $37 million piece of his 2025 deal that they wanted to kind of like not give him or not allow him to have, and the threat to benching him went against the NFL's collective bargaining agreement. So now we're going into lawsuit territory. It is if he didn't push, they threatened that he would be taken out if he didn't push back an early vesting date for his $37 million on his contract. And so basically the Broncos could cut Wilson in the offseason, but it incurs an $85 million dead cap hit. An NFL record for a single player. So this whole thing is weird. It says the Broncos did not bench Wilson in the aftermath of a certain meeting they had following a loss, or following a certain point about his contract. The last of his starts was the game on Christmas Eve with the Patriots that put the Denver playoff hopes in peril. It could have been a performance-based thing, but it's really a contract thing. A letter was sent by a law firm on behalf of the NFLPA, first reported by the Washington Post, that said the Broncos follow through on the club's threat. The club will violate, among other things, the CBA, Mr. Wilson's player contract, and New York law. So there could very well be arbitration and lawsuits. And we will definitely keep an eye on this as it unfolds. But this is some of the contract related things with this are unprecedented. Like, we've never seen issues like this happen to this magnitude before.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I mean, what was the closest that came to that? Wasn't it the Derek Carr contract in a sense? Because wasn't Derek Carr's contract pretty significant too? Before he got
I know Derek.
And that was last year.
I know that, but I think. Yep, no, but I think Derek Carr got traded. Derek Carr. No, wait. Derek Carr was released. No, Derek Carr was released.
I had to say, because the Saints signed him last offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, but Derek Carr, I think at the time with I think Derek Carr was more so because of performance, not contract.
Yeah. Right.
This I think is entirely about contract.
Especially when you sign him like before he even plays a down of football for you. Uh, that's
Yeah.
that's a big gamble there.
Yeah. But now that we've kind of recapped ourselves through the good, bad, and the ugly, we now will summarize the penultimate week of the regular season of football. And we will kick it off with a hot one early. Cowboys defeating the Lions 20-19. And even though the NFL has said there will not be a new rule for reporting, for eligibility reporting, should there be some sort of new ruling? And I think a lot of people were trying to spin it different ways, as the Detroit Lions sending 3 offensive linemen into that spot were trying to confuse the Cowboys. Campbell had given the referees a script saying, "Oh, in this situation, we'd make this player eligible, and the player will report." And and honestly, more people are saying that it's like some people are blaming the some people are blaming the Lions, some people are blaming the refs. And there's so many different sides to the story that come out. Should there be a new ruling for eligibility reporting, and or even elements of the deception that could be and gamesmanship that the Lions could have been interpreted as attempting in these situations?
Okay, so when it comes to the refs, I feel like if you do a ruling, if you change the ruling, make it so dumb that like it's easy to call, like because here's the deal, because not just the whole O-line situation where it's like you have the like linemen lined up to fool the Cowboys or try to. There's other things like that too, like offsides calls, the pass interference calls, the just like everything in
Illegal
between.
formation.
Unnecessary roughness is a big one, because what is a defender gonna do if like he's like pretty much at the quarterback and can't really stop his momentum, and he's like trying, and then he tackles the dude like barely, and then the refs call it. Like, is this gonna be? Have you seen the movie Rebound with Martin Lawrence?
I think I've heard. I think I have.
So, do you remember the ref that was in that was really slow at like calling
Oh,
plays? That felt kind of like that sequence in the Chiefs game. I think this last weekend with the ref, he was like really slow with like his talking and stuff. That's what really reminded me of that ref from Rebound. Like the dude like would take a sweet time to call it and then say something about it, but it would like irritate people because they're like, "Okay, what's the call, man? What's the call?" But regardless, I think there's a lot of things that have to be ironed out with these calls, because not only are you it feels like you're ruining the game by making the wrong call for the team that was like, "Oh man, we should have won this," or "Oh, this game was destined for us to win, but then the refs pulled this or that." And it's like, well, there's two sides to that coin, but also I feel like they need to dumb it down, because these refs are dumb. Like, we're humans at the end of the day, but my god, there were some times where there were some boneheaded calls, and they decided, "Oh, well, we're gonna stand by it." And yes, there were probably very many intoxicated fans that were like booing in the stands, even if the call was like legitimately the call and it looked like the call. Like, there's that argument where it's like, okay, well, not everyone's gonna agree with that change, but I think there needs to be more simplicity to the rule, other than just like, oh well, we're gonna like call unnecessary roughness, even though the guy like literally like pushed the dude like barely at all, or like when just offsides calls happen, like he literally called him or checked with the ref, and the ref was like, okay, seems legit, and then like there was other calls like that before that. Anyways,
Yeah,
what is your thoughts, Venice?
I mean, I think that I think the refs or the NFL should look at the gamesmanship involved and possibly interpret a ruling or make something so that this gets reduced. But 68 was definitely right there in front of the ref preparing to report. And the ref just paid him no mind.
That's the problem I have with it, is like the refs are just either not on alert at the time, or like it's like one of those human things where like you just don't realize it's happening, or you forget, and there's just like a lot of things being processed mentally in your brain at the time, where you're like, okay, I forgot this was happening or that. Like, yeah, I get it, we're human, but at the same time, it's like, if it's that bad, dumb it down a little bit, make it more simple. Like, if you have to use technology, use the damn technology. Just don't
How about
abuse
how about
it.
how about do something like soccer? But do something like soccer, like actual international football does, where they for their substitutions, like for primarily their substitutions and changing players, they have this board that they show one number in green and one number in red, or kind of just have something that says, oh, this number is reporting as eligible, or kind of have something there as like a display board for the ref. So to say, hey, this player is reporting as eligible. So that the ref can actually see it from the middle of the field. Like
Yeah.
actually have like a special person dedicated for that.
Yeah. Also, can I add something to this too? As a IT man myself, I feel like, you know how like they advertise AWS? What if they had like a sensor in the field for whenever a team's trying to spike the ball? Like whenever they're trying to kill time, when they spike the ball, it like downs them where that ball spike was, in a sense. And
Um,
then it stops the clock.
I mean, they have all these different ways to possibly make it more efficient.
Because like I find it annoying seeing the refs like botch like a lineup deal, and then it like costs the team time, but also that team also chose to try to go for it, and while they had like barely any clock, so I guess either way it
Yeah.
wouldn't really
So I
matter.
think some changes could possibly happen, but I don't know how well it will pass.
Yeah.
So now the Ravens beating up on the Miami Dolphins 56-19. And the question is, have we been overlooking Lamar Jackson as a legitimate candidate for the NFL's most valuable player?
Eh. I think I think um I think for the most part the defense really helped him out. For as far as getting the turnover battle going, like the past few weeks, like to me, whenever I see him on TV, I'm like, damn, that defense is good. But I don't, and yes, I don't really think he's a quarterback, or really the greatest throwing quarterback. But I mean, he can juke out, and he's always had that like style of, I'm going to try to like juke out some people and like kind of do like a Vince Young / Michael Vick kind of thing, where you just like dodge the defense as much as you can. But I don't know if you would say he's a candidate for MVP. I feel like he's in the same boat as Tyreek Hill, though, when it comes to the MVP picture. When Tyreek Hill was trying to get 2,000 receiving yards, which I don't know if he even is going to reach that. Maybe we'll see. But like
he needs like almost like a NFL record style kind of day just to even get there.
yeah, and like Lamar Jackson, I mean, for most of the season, they just kind of were like in the dark when it came to what they were doing. So it's like, I don't know. I think it might got mild overlook on Lamar Jackson, but the defense has really been helping them out. But at least the Ravens offense is more alive than the Chiefs offense, to say the least.
Do I think Lamar Jackson has entered the chat?
Yeah.
Yes. Do I think Lamar Jackson should be entering the chat as the favorite? No. That favorite is still Christian McCaffrey. I don't care what anybody says. The dude is a walking touchdown. He is a walking tutty waiting to happen. Yes, I just said that about Christian McCaffrey. Lamar Jackson did throw for five touchdowns in that Miami game, and that was definitely a defining game. Do not get it twisted.
Yeah.
But I think Christian McCaffrey has done it all year and done it pretty much about better than anybody. No questions asked. So, does Lamar enter the conversation? Yes. Is he the favorite? No.
Yeah.
Is where I'm at.
Yeah. All right. Cardinals, Eagles.
The Cardinals stunned the Eagles 35-31. The question here is, will the Eagles find a way to soar once playoff time comes? Or have their weaknesses been exposed to the point of teams now legitimately having the recipe for beating them?
I think their offense hasn't been the same as it was last year, as far as consistency. Their defense is like the one thing that's really scary for the Eagles. The Cardinals, I think it was more just a let's steal this win from them and like give more headway to teams that are in the hunt, obviously. So it's like, I mean, I think they'll find a way, but we'll just have to see what their opponents are like and if they want the playoff advancement more than the Eagles do. And I just feel like that's gonna be the what it comes down to.
I think the Eagles will figure it out. I think there's a lot of inexperience in the linebacking core. A change of defensive coordinator has they had to change out both of their coordinators. Not just one, they had to change out both. And it has shown that it has its flaws. And those flaws are kind of apparent. And they're really, really sticking out. And it could be an alarm if the Eagles don't step up. And now, the AFC playoff picture. The Bills, Jaguars, Steelers, Texans, and Colts all win. The Broncos were eliminated despite a winning. Are we surprised that any of these teams still vying for playoff position in the AFC are still hanging around?
The last week of the season, and they were good enough to get there according to how the NFL is run with the rankings and all that. I think the Bills, out of all those teams, are kind of a big surprise when it came to how the Bills played this year at the beginning and then coming out of it in the end. Like, that took guts. The Jaguars, I think they're holding onto a thread. I think those kitties are gonna get their nails clipped here soon, and trimmed. And then the Steelers, well, I don't know about that. We'll see. They might get a squeaky win over the Texans or Colts or whatever, but I think the Texans beat the Colts and then they uh make it a close game versus a higher seed team and maybe almost win. So we'll see. I'm surprised. I'm surprised the Jaguars are still in it. Just the way they have, just with their sheer luck that they have not had. And the Colts, I thought they were not going to be a playoff team this year.
Oh yeah, the Colts. The Colts, I am surprised because of how they've hung around in spite of Anthony Richardson going down. The Texans, I am surprised simply because of how well D'Amico Ryans has coached this team up and how CJ Stroud has kind of got them two hanging around. The Jaguars, I am more surprised in how they have not dismantled team and really how very heavily up and down they've been. The Bills, I believe, are the same way. I thought the Bills would have gotten there in much more dominating fashion. Kind of a little bit more like what the Cleveland Browns are doing, is where I thought the Bills were. So for the Bills and Jaguars, I'm surprised that it's taken them this long to try and still secure the bag. The Steelers are always there. They're always kind of like hanging around. And then the Texans and Colts, it's more so the surprise of how well they have been playing to try and steal the bag and force the Jaguars to fumble it. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
The Rams secure their playoff spot with a win. The Bucks stumble against the Saints to open the door for both New Orleans and Atlanta. The Packers defeat the Vikings to gain leverage and control their own destiny. Are we surprised with any of these? And has this or the AFC playoff race been more entertaining?
I'm going to say AFC race has probably been more entertaining just because my
I
team is
think
in
the
the
overall
AFC.
records are. I think the overall records have been better on the AFC side.
Yeah.
But this race has had more of its entertainment because of how open it is. It's more so how open this race is and how many teams legitimately have a shot at it. It is more the legitimacy of the shot rather than the amount of shot or kind of the records. The records involved are one thing, but it's more so just the how these shots have really come about. And here are the playoff clinching scenarios. In the AFC, Houston clinches the AFC South Division with a win or a Jacksonville loss or tie. The Colts clinch the Houston can clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie plus a Jacksonville loss and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. or tie in terms of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
The Colts will clinch the AFC South with a win and a Jacksonville loss or tie. Jacksonville has to lose in order for Indianapolis to get the division. So Houston must beat Indianapolis to guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. And Houston would immediately get the 4 seed. Jacksonville could be plummeting out. The Steelers. The Steelers get in with a win and a Buffalo loss, or a win and a Jacksonville loss or tie, or a win and a tie between Houston and Indianapolis, or a tie plus a Jacksonville loss, a Houston-Indianapolis loss, or Houston-Indianapolis not ending in a tie, or a Jacksonville loss plus a Denver win, plus Houston and Indianapolis not ending in a tie. So there are a lot of crazy scenarios. Buffalo clinches a playoff berth if they tie. If Pittsburgh loses, if Jacksonville loses, or Houston and Indianapolis tie. Jacksonville clinches the AFC South title with a victory over the Titans, or any and every tie scenario. Jacksonville just makes the playoffs if they draw and Pittsburgh loses, or Pittsburgh loses and Denver loses, and Indianapolis and Houston doesn't end in a tie. So there are a lot of weird scenarios and a lot of situations where a lot of help could happen. But now we get to the NFC, and Tampa Bay is in control of the destiny at this point. Tampa Bay wins the NFC South with a win, or a New Orleans loss. But Tampa Bay must not lose. Atlanta clinches the NFC South with a win and a Tampa Bay loss. New Orleans clinches the NFC South with a New Orleans win and a Tampa Bay loss, or a draw and a Tampa Bay loss. Philadelphia must beat Dallas. Or Philadelphia must beat the Giants, and Dallas must lose so that the Philadelphia can win the NFC East. So there's a lot of open-ended scenarios. Divisions are still up for a couple of divisions are still up for grabs, and the playoff and the flex games reflect that. And both of these races, I think, are extremely entertaining. And with that said, why don't we go ahead and get to predicting some of these major races?
All right. All right.
But we're going to start with the College Football National Championship. Michigan versus Washington. Are you taking the Wolverines or the Huskies?
Part of me feels like Michigan's gonna win it.
Yeah.
But here's the deal.
I am going to. It's 10 points.
All right, we're gonna make things interesting. I'm gonna say Washington wins, and Harbaugh and the Wolverines just barely lose. All right, Steelers Ravens. Are they going to start? Who are they gonna have Tyler Huntley starting?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is not starting.
Well, they're at Baltimore, aren't they? At M&T Bank Stadium.
Yeah, I believe that's at M&T.
I'm gonna say Ravens there. I'm gonna say Texans here. Bucks Panthers. I'm going Bucks. Vikings Lions. Are they setting anybody, or do they have to?
I don't think the Lions can advance any higher, but I personally do not care.
Falcons Saints. I'm gonna say Falcons just for the hell of it.
Jaguars Titans.
Jaguars, because the Titans are a joke. Seahawks
Seahawks.
Cardinals.
I think.
Seahawks.
Yep.
And then
All right, Bears Packers. I took the Pack.
Yeah, Packers. And then Eagles Giants.
Eagles Giants.
I'm
Eagles.
gonna say Eagles. And then Cowboys
I would
Commanders.
love for that to be Commanders, but I think it is going to be the Cowboys because we are that bad.
The Bills Dolphins. I'm gonna say Dolphins.
I'm taking the Bills here because the Bills are playing with a sense of urgency right now. Miami doesn't need to.
All right.
They could sit to a Tagovailoa and be okay.
Yeah.
But now we are adding a new event, and this one will be done throughout the postseason. It is the fantasy team. Rules: 10 yards passing, rushing, or receiving is a point. Touchdowns are 6 points. Interceptions and fumbles lost, you lose 2. That 2 becomes 6 if the turnover is returned for a touchdown. This will apply to quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. For defenses, DSTs, you start at 5 points. For every 6 points you give up to 30 points, you lose a point. 30 points in this case equals 0. Anything beyond 30, you lose a point for every 3 points you give up. The defense gives up. But if a defense gives a pick 6, if there's a pick 6 involved for the defense, it does not count toward giving up points for the defense on the other side. So say you have the Commanders defense and the Cowboys return a pick 6. Those 6 points charged on that pick 6 do not count against you on the defense. One point per sack, 2 points per pick, 2 points for a fumble recovery, 6 points for the touchdown. So pick 6s and fumble recoveries for a touchdown will grant you 8 points because you'll get 2 for the turnover and 6 points for the touchdown. The person who wins each individual position will get 1 point added to their film room score. Whoever has the most in total, but amongst all the players we pick, scores 2 on their film score. And Ruckus, we are going to start at the quarterback. Which quarterback are you looking at taking?
So who has secured a spot as far as on the seating for the NFC?
Okay. So spots secured. Or we should say probably playoff spots secured. Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, Cleveland. So Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Buffalo, Houston, and Pittsburgh are still contending. Teams eliminated are clearly Denver, Cincinnati, Las Vegas, the Jets, Titans, Chargers, and Patriots. On the NFC side, it is San Francisco, Dallas, and Detroit. along with Philadelphia and the Rams. However, Philadelphia and Dallas are playing with the division on the line, and the Lions can go no higher. Lions do have the potential of going higher, possibly, but I believe they are not going to be able to go any higher.
In that case, my quarterback is going to be Dak Prescott.
I'm going with a quarterback that is potentially going to have at least a potential playoff spot on the mind, and with urgency to be able to get to said quarterback's said spot. My quarterback at this point is going to be Baker Mayfield. I won't say Baker Mayfield here. I'm either looking at Baker Mayfield or I'm between Baker Mayfield or Jordan Love. And I'm going to go Baker Mayfield.
All right.
Wait, no, not Baker Mayfield. I actually am going to I'll take Jordan Love.
All right. All right.
I'm going to take Jordan Love. Running backs. Okay. You know what we're also going to do? We're going to make this PPR. So you're going to get a point per reception. And I'm taking my fantasy football man this season, Rachaad White.
I'm going to take damn it. I kind of want to do Mr. Mustard, but I also don't know.
Wait, Mr. Mustard?
Yeah, Bijan Mustard.
Oh, you're going to take Bijan Robinson.
I was thinking about it, but I'm not sure if I want to. Why not? Alright, I'm gonna just put Mr. Mustard.
You're going to take Bijan Robinson. I am taking Rachaad White.
Alright, wide receiver 1. I'm gonna
Wide
do
receiver 1.
CD Lamb.
Man. Taking CD Lamb.
You still got Amon-Ra St. Brown or
No, but I wanted CD. Really wanted CD there. This gets a little rough. It's a little rough at that point.
still have Rashee Rice.
You know what? I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to take A.J. Brown at wide receiver 1.
Alright, I'm gonna take Rashee Rice at my second wide receiver. Even though he might not play very much, screw it. He's been good.
Second wide receiver. I believe that Bill's secondary is still somewhat exposed. I'm taking the cheetah.
You're gonna hate me for this one too. Sam Laporta at tight end.
Not necessarily. Because I am taking Jake Ferguson of the Cowboys.
Flex, is that like any of the positions as far as offense?
What's up?
The flex, is that wide receiver,
anything,
running back,
anything
tight
but
end?
a quarterback. Anything but a quarterback.
Justin Jefferson for me.
Going Jay Jettas.
Turn me into a superhero, yeah.
I am between. Let's see. I am looking at the potential of. I think I am going to take a running back here. I'm leaning toward David Montgomery.
And then I have my kicker
But
as
I
Harrison Butt
might.
kicker. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I might actually. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to go with. I'm leaning toward Montgomery. But I think that the Lions might rest some people because I don't think they can go much higher. Which will probably mean that as scary of a proposition as this could look like, I'm actually going to go. Oh, because Kyron Williams is not going to do much. Here's McCaffrey. Let's see. I've got the option of Tony Pollard, James Cook, Raheem Mostert. Yeah, Raheem Mostert. Kicker. I am between. I think I am going to take Jason Sanders. And then defense. Defense and special teams.
So I have butt kicker as my kicker. Defense and special teams. I don't know if the Chiefs are really going to really bench many of their starters for the defense. I think they're gonna. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna go Dolphins defense. I think they're gonna expose Josh Allen. Because that's why I didn't pick him as a quarterback. Because I was like, well, I think because Allen's been known the past couple seasons to be throw heavy and get intercepted. So I don't want that to happen. Also, good on you for taking the Cowboys.
Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Aren't they playing at Hard Rock? The
yeah, that
Dolphins?
game is in Miami. Yes, that game is in Miami.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very tough game. But yeah, all right. So for summary, quarterback Dak Prescott, Mr. Mustard for me, CeeDee Lamb, Rasheed Rice, Sam Laporta, Justin Jefferson, Harrison Butker, and the Dolphins for defense.
And then I have Jordan Love, Rashad White, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Jake Ferguson, Raheem Mostert, and that Jake Ferguson being the tight end for the Cowboys. Jason Sanders, the kicker for the Dolphins, and the Dallas Cowboys defense.
All right, and now we are on to color
Our
commentary.
commentary. And this week's plan is New Year's resolutions. We are going through the 5 most stereotypical New Year's resolutions that anyone would have and spinning them in a way to say which team or player do we feel has this on their New Year's resolution list. And the first one here is lose weight. So basically cutting off or pretty much really which team is looking to kind of cut off dead weight from their shoulders.
I think it's the Carolina Panthers. They're gonna probably cut some people, and possibly get some newbies, which they should, because it's like, come on.
I'm going with the Washington Commanders. I think there's going to be a whole bunch of wholesale, clean house, make it lean out, and go that way with it. The next one, be more organized.
Huh? That one's a bit of a toughie.
And this is also not just talking the NFL. We're talking throughout a good amount of sport. So if you see one that fits a little bit better, go with it. Be more organized.
I don't know. What do you think for yours?
I'm trying to find a good set of things outside of baseball, or trying to outside of football.
All right.
But I think it might actually end up having to be a certain NFL team. As I would say, I think the be more organized is probably going to be, for me, the Chicago Bears.
I was gonna say the NBA in season tournament if they decide to do another one of those, because that for me was confusing.
What? Because you didn't know which games were.
I just didn't know when they were actually playing the games. It was just like I would just see highlights for it, and plus it was partly me just not knowing. But you know,
Oh,
when they
yeah,
advertise
if you were to
stuff,
pop up your ESPN app, they actually had like specific days laid out.
yeah, but they didn't really advertise it much, and
Yeah,
usually
I would say that would be an
that's where it
improvement.
confused me.
Yeah, I could see that being something that maybe gets a
Also,
little more look at it.
also, granted, this is their first time doing it, but still, they just need to adjust it.
It turned out, but still, the shuttlecock games turned out well.
Yeah. All right. Skill development.
Skill development.
Actually, I'm gonna say that here. Chiefs offense has been rough this season, so that's where I'm gonna put that. Chiefs offense.
I am probably going to look in terms of skill development. Skill development. This gets a little. I mean, this gets a little hairy, but I probably am between either Kyle Schwarber or who I think this really needs to go to in
Sam
terms of the
Howell.
Commanders, Sam Howell. But I was between either that and skill development or him in curbing a bad habit, but I think I know there's a better option for curb a bad habit. You're saying penalties on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, for the Chiefs because it's been rough with that. Like, just like
There was an
actually,
obvious answer.
I'm just gonna say penalties and then just say Chiefs in quotes. And then curbing a bad
The
habit.
obvious answer. Draymond Green.
Homer. Black Homer.
Sorry, I had to do it.
And then money management, I'm gonna say, oh shoot, I'm gonna say the New York Mets.
I had the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's also a good one too. I was gonna put the Dodgers, but I feel like that one's too soon. The Mets one is more of a better example because they paid a lot of money to Justin Verlander and then ended up trading him back to his old team.
And they had a whole bunch of luxury tax too while they were at it.
Yeah.
But then for me, I took the LA Chargers because they're going to have to do it with Herbert being a soon-to-be paid Pied Piper and all the lack of cap space.
Yeah.
To make any sort of decisions. And now we go to our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, go ahead and get it started because I'm sure that all of yours are going to involve the Chiefs.
Yep, and I'm going to start with my dud and honorable mention for dud. I know that not a lot of celebrities watch our podcast at all, but for Chiefs fans like me that probably are wondering why I haven't talked about this man yet, Marquez Valdez Scantling was targeted 3 times against the Bills with 1 catch for 3 yards last game.
That was against the Bengals.
And he has been doing this shit all season. And he was... Dude, the man was worse than D-Rob. And D-Rob was getting paid less when he was... there. And I kind of compared MVS to D-Rob in a sense, but at least D-Rob could catch a damn ball. I mean, he had a rough spout in the AFC Divisional in 2019, but we ended up whipping the Texans' ass afterwards. And that was a Deshaun Watson-led Texans offense. But anyways, MVS was targeted 3 times, and he missed a big throw from Mahomes early in the game that could have been a first down and or a touchdown. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're paid $11 million a year, and this is your second year. Like, come on, man. That's not even like a shack and a fool. That's just... Oh, that's just terrible, Ernie. That's just terrible. Just terrible. And then my honorable mention is the amount of hats being lost by the refs. There was one hat that was lost in Baltimore, and the announcers are joking that my man, the ref, lost his flag, so he decided to throw his hat out there instead. And then at Arrowhead, there was just a random hat that was on the field, and it wasn't even the same instance of what was going on there. But the big elephant in the room for the stud this week is the one, the only, the MVP of the game, Harrison Butker, as he went 6 for 6, scoring 19 points total in field goals and extra points alone. And he managed not to miss a kick the whole game. I mean, he missed a couple last game, but come on. Butker is the second most accurate kicker in the league, and the only one beating him at the number 1 spot is JT, Justin Tucker.
All right, so I'm going to start with my stud, and that is Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. He had a 227-yard game on 13 catches, including a 92-yard touchdown reception against the Lions. However, he missed passing Michael Irvin's single-season team touchdown record by fumbling a potential touchdown through the end zone for a touchback.
Also, Boomer Sooner, an absolute dog.
Oh, man. CeeDee, like, he is going to be scary for years to come. And it's bad enough that he wears number 88, which is very much like Michael Irvin. But that's just because the Cowboys don't officially retire numbers. But my dud is definitely worse. Because Panthers owner David Tepper was seen tossing a drink on Jaguars fans and getting fined $300K for it. It clearly should have been worse. Like, rip a pick away. Like, do something to put this in the owner's detriment. Finding them $300,000 for that does not detriment an owner. That is chump change. That is chump change. That is pennies compared to the dollar. There is no power in $300K to a billionaire. Get your fine system and penalty system a little bit better on the mark here, NFL. Make an example of this owner who clearly has done nothing for his own team because his management of deciding on patience for a coach has been a mess. The team doesn't even want, like, the locker room probably doesn't even have the buying of the owner. They're not bought into what the vision the owner has. If the owner even has a vision. Cough, cough, Dan Snyder, cough, cough. Other than Dan Snyder's vision of toxicity, cough, cough.
Money, 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 money.
I did it too fast.
The boot, SpongeBob! The boot! He's
Ruckus, I think we might better just go ahead and take this out before we go. Before we kind of have this devolve into a SpongeBob fest.
Alright, sounds good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast, episode number 82. This has been a Ruckus and The Menace Sports production. I am Ruckus.
That was Spence the Menace.
And we'll catch y'all later, and we will have our next episode earlier since we are going... This was the 2 weeks that we had our special holiday episode recording schedule, and now we're going to do the normal thing. But also, don't forget to watch our Super Bowl race videos for the AFC Championship for both of ours, as mine will start at Friday at 7 as a premiere, and then yours will start at on Saturday at 7, I believe.
Saturday at 7, yes.
And, yeah, so be sure to check those out, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep, deuces.